so for our next speaker, meet Kirti Subramanian, a creative and determined junior who's driven by her love for technology and her natural curiosity to explore computer science and data science. As an aspiring data scientist, Kirti aims to leverage her skills to solve real-world problems and to make a meaningful impact on the world. She believes in the responsible use of technology and believes in greater good for others. Kirti loves to dive into music and playing the piano, while also, as a tech enthusiast, she inspires all of us. So please join us and Kirti as she shares her experience as a high school student who wants to major in data science.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak at TEDx. I'm Kirti Subramanian, and today I'll be speaking about responsible innovation. Next slide, please. Next slide. I'd like to start by asking everyone a question. So how many of you have experienced or used a technology or app or application that you felt has had an overall negative impact in your life? Just raise your hand. That should be almost all of us, right? Well, this is no coincidence. Next slide, please. So, I'm sure we've all seen such pictures around the internet that look very similar to this, or maybe videos that look just like this, that depict what our technological future could look like. Doesn't it look so fascinating to see how advanced we could become, how technological we could be, how automated we could be? But there's something missing from these photos, and I want to see if you can identify it. I'll give you a few seconds to sit and think about it. So, what's actually missing from these photos is humans. We are missing from these photos, and we will soon be missing from the future if we decide to not responsibly innovate. We need to make sure that we innovate responsibly so that we can preserve our humanity. The true purpose of technology is responsible innovation. So let's make sure that we take this into our own hands. Next slide, please. So let's start by considering what AI even is. What is AI? Well, AI is short for artificial intelligence. AI is a sector within computer science which basically focuses on automating functions or replicating the human mind. It focuses on trying to replicate human mental tasks, such as learning from experience, learning from mistakes, and so. As you can see, this is extremely promising and seems so cool. There's so much opportunity and potential that we could do with this in the future. And since it's a developing field, we've also gotten so far, but not so far. So there's so much that we can innovate with AI. But you can also see how this can become very dangerous very quickly. We're talking about replicating a human mind here. There are some things that are unique to human minds that we cannot replicate with a machine. This includes creative thinking, critical thinking, analysis, reflection, empathy. These are things that make us unique as humans. This is what makes us advanced. If we allow a machine to take these things away from us, we are taking away our humanity. As a high school student who is interested in technology, I just wanted to learn a little bit more about how artificial intelligence works. I started off by just searching what are potential ways that you could go about learning artificial intelligence. After all, this is something that I thought I could pursue in the future. But as I started to search more about it and learn more about it, I started to realize that there's a lot of gray area. There's a lot of stuff that exists that we haven't yet discussed. And that's where responsible innovation comes in. We need to make sure that out of what we are innovating, specifically technological innovations, AI innovations, we need to make sure that we're innovating with with responsibility, so that we are using machines to aid us, to help use them as tools to help us, not to replace us. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to show this graphic to tell you what I'm really talking about. So automation can really have the power to be dangerous. I'm talking about job losses here. For example, from Oxford Economics, posted from BBC, the leading country in the world with the most job losses due to automation since 2000 is South Korea. Following South Korea is our country. And right behind us is China and the European countries. What does this mean? All of these countries have millions of workers being replaced annually because of automation, because of what we have control over, because of what we choose to build. And because we're building them, we also have the power to change that. This is where the solution comes in. If AI can create job losses, it can also create jobs. We should use AI and technology to help upskill workers. Let's use it to help the workers that would be replaced, to help them learn the skills so that they can get a job. And this means accessible technology to everyone, accessible learning to everyone. Next slide, please. But this doesn't mean that we've done absolutely nothing so far. For example, let's look at the field of renewable energy. If we look at solar panels, we can see that we have utilized technology and the power of technology to create an innovation that has benefited society. Here's the thing about solar panels. They are sustainable for the environment. It's only bringing societal good. And the best part, there are no job losses. In fact, there are jobs created because of solar panels. Now we see people being hired to install solar panels on our roofs. Technological innovations such as solar panels are very promising for the future. And this is the type of approach that we must take for future innovations in technology and in AI. By ensuring that we're innovating so that society has benefit, we can make sure that we're innovating responsibly. Next slide, please. However, there is a far more dangerous side to AI that I want to briefly touch upon. Even on a personal level, I've noticed a deterioration of my own focus and skills. Somehow, during the finals of each semester, I don't know how this happens, but I know it happens. During the finals of each semester, I see my screen time go down significantly. And I know I'm not the only one who faces this. And this is absolutely no coincidence. The reason for why we face this is because clearly there is some discrepancy. Not all innovation that exists today, not all technology that exists today is there to only serve us in a good way. That's why we decide to tune out the distractions that is a byproduct of these technologies. We choose to tune them out so that we can become better, so that we can be more productive, so that we can be more focused. This shows that right now, not all the technology is serving us. In fact, we have become slaves of the technology. So this is a pivotal point where we need to consider what we're innovating so that we can innovate for societal good. Let me tell you something that's actually quite fascinating. There are many multi-billion-dollar companies that exist today, and their sole purpose is only to make profits. What's the result of this? The ultimate result is the change in our behavior in the long run. This is an irreversible change that will affect us for the rest of our lives. This means that our future, our productivity, our livelihood is in the hands of these companies. that are not using their vision correctly. They're only profit-driven rather than being mission-driven, rather than being driven for societal good. What does this ultimately result in? As a society, we're becoming more autonomous. We're becoming automated. And because of that, we are losing our humanity. So I really encourage you to consider these factors if you choose to become an engineer, entrepreneur, or innovator one day. Please consider whether you're innovating responsibly. Why should we be fascinated by this? Well, this really shows the power that we hold with technology. Technology is a tool for us to become more powerful. There's so much opportunity with technology. There's so much that we can do. But why should we be alarmed? We should be alarmed because of the way that we choose to use this power. So let's make sure that we choose properly. Next slide, please. Because of this, I've come up with 3 key considerations that we must think about before innovating anything. First of all, let's consider ethics. I know ethics has already been widely discussed for about a few decades now, and many ethical principles have already been implemented in many companies today, and in the making of many technologies, but I will still mention it. Ethics relates to making sure that what we're innovating is equal to everyone, making sure that all consumers have equal access to it, and making sure that in general, the public has equal access to this. Let me give you an example. There was a huge issue before about how banks' automated systems were not giving loans properly. Certain minority communities and certain races were not given loans purely because the algorithms behind the automated system had racial biases within them. Because of this, loans were not given properly. However, many companies have been working to fix that. This falls under the hood of ethics, along many other factors. The second key consideration is sustainability. Let's make sure that what we're innovating is sustainable in the long run. Will this last? Does it use renewable resources, or does it use short-term resources such as fossil fuels? What is the long-term impact of this innovation? And how will it be used 10 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now? And last but not least, we must consider society. This is the most important factor. And this is not just about societal convenience. This is not just about us wanting to make life easier for us. This is about whether we're really working towards bridging the gap between the wealthy and the poor, whether we're really working towards the increasing number of job displacements because of automation and other such factors. Next slide, please. Now, one possible solution that I'm proposing for all of this is the concept of a smart city. What even is a smart city? It's almost in the name. A smart city is basically an entire city that runs on renewable sources, powered by technology. It's not just renewable sources. The whole city is powered on technology. But this technology is accessible to everyone and is given to everyone. People do not have to pay for this. It's constructed and inbuilt for everyone in the city. For example, there will be solar panels and wind turbines powering the city. Solar panels will be on every roof. There will be equal access to Wi-Fi and devices and technology for everyone in the city. This way, there will be no discrepancy between the wealthy and the poor regarding technology use. This is responsible innovation, where everyone has equal access, and job displacement will not be as major. Next slide, please. So, Now it is more important than ever that we start considering responsible innovation. We are at this perfect time where we've gotten so far, but we've also not gotten so far. We've made so many technologies, we've innovated so much, we've advanced so much regarding AI, technology, but there's also a lot of scope for improvement and a lot of areas where we have not yet innovated. Because of this, now is the perfect time for us to start considering this. Let's consider that as humans, our purpose is to continue humanity. So let's make sure that we preserve our humanity when we're innovating. I'd like to remind you all that this does not mean in any way that we should stop innovating or that we should halt AI. That is not the solution, and that is not the right way to go about this. Rather, we just need to change our approach or our perspective. We just need to make sure that we're viewing innovation with a purpose, and the purpose is to responsibly innovate, to make sure that we are eliminating as much negative consequences as possible. Next slide, please. So, as the next generation of future pioneers, engineers, innovators, I urge you to take these factors into consideration. One day, when you're deciding what to innovate, please take these factors into mind when deciding how to go about innovating. This is why we should innovate responsibly. Thank you.